Welcome to the channel Tech Base. You can get global latest technological news in daily video. Please subscribe this channel. The hegemony of the United States is obvious to all in the world in order to demonstrate its barbaric behavior. The United States not only imposes political interference on China, but also imposes sanctions on and surrounds Chinese state-owned enterprises. Among them, Huawei is a typical example. Huawei is an important electronic technology product company in China. It has won glory for the country through years of development, and many high-tech product projects are among the world's advanced ranks. The United States is very angry about this. In addition to imposing sanctions on Huawei's mobile phone product export trade policy, it also tries to crack down on Huawei. But in the face of this situation, Huawei is not afraid. On the one hand, through self-improvement to break through the various policy restrictions of the United States, on the other hand, through cooperation with other domestic companies, to vigorously develop national independent technology products, so that domestic high-tech is no longer subject to the United States. Especially recently, Huawei's ultimate counterattack has come. It has joined forces with Nokia to break through the siege of the United States and give the United States a hard blow. Huawei and Nokia announced a 5-year extension of the patent licensing agreement sharing to the United States. In terms of patent license agreements, Huawei and Nokia have announced that they will extend the license sharing agreement for 5 years, as agreed by the two companies. This means that Huawei's intellectual property has already taken a deep-rooted position in the global network, and it has more potential for future development. On the surface, the United States has repeatedly accused Huawei of posing a major threat to national security, but secretly shows a strong interest in Huawei's next-generation telecommunications patented products. Industry insiders learned that although the details of the cooperation between Huawei and Nokia have not been disclosed, it is conjectured based on the actual situation that the two companies will join hands in building or connecting the technologies required for wireless networks. For the United States, if it wants to use network technology as a breakthrough to restrict Huawei, it may not make much sense. At the same time, Huawei has also carried out business expansion in the field of wireless network technology applications. The scope of expansion includes the collection of patent fees for popular mobile phone brands Apple and Samsung. On December 9, Huawei and OPPO announced the signing of a global patent cross-licensing agreement, which covers basic patents for cellular communication standards including 5G standards. Industry insiders believe that the two giants reached a package of patent cross-licensing agreements, which is a win-win result. In addition to OPPO, Huawei also reached a cross-licensing agreement with Samsung on the same day, covering the relevant standard essential patents of both parties. And the licensing of standard essential patents must follow the principles of fairness, reasonableness, and non-discrimination. It is reported that in the past year, nearly 20 manufacturers around the world, including Samsung, smart cars, networks, and other industries, have obtained Huawei patent licenses. At the beginning of 2022, Huawei sounded the clarion call for patent licensing business negotiations. On March 16, the minutes of the Patent Licensing Business Report, issued by Huawei President Ren Zhengfei, stated that Huawei should build a reasonable price benchmark to allow the industry to use Huawei's patented technology fairly and reasonably. and obtain appropriate research and development returns. It is beneficial for Huawei to establish the image of an innovator in the international community. Huawei has to pay a reasonable fee for using other people's patents, thus establishing an intellectual property value and soil conducive to innovation around the world. Huawei ultimately hit back with a deal with Nokia to license smartphone and network technology. Huawei's strong development momentum has already made the United States feel threatened. In order to eliminate this adversary, the United States will continue to suppress and sanction Huawei. Against this background, Huawei has fallen into a difficult development situation. However, in this case, Huawei has also shown very strong resilience, and is not afraid of US suppression and sanctions at all. Even in this case, Huawei ushered in the ultimate counterattack and reached an agreement with Nokia to continue licensing smartphones and network technologies. Although the United States has imposed sanctions on Huawei for many years after this move was made, it is not easy for the United States to take the lead in stripping Huawei technology from the global network, and it is bound to experience major challenges. Huawei has grown even faster under the influence of US sanctions. At present, Huawei has not only had no impact under the sanctions of the United States, but the speed of development has become more rapid. From the data point of view, Huawei has signed more than dozens of patent cooperation projects this year, covering industries such as smartphones, smart cars, and smart IoT. Including the global auto industry, more than 15 parties have also signed. The car brands covered include Audi, BMW and Mercedes-Benz, etc., making its business expansion very fast, which has definitely accelerated the development of the company. In terms of technical patents, Huawei is still the largest holder of ultra-high-speed broadband technology patents in the world. Everyone should know that ultra-high-speed broadband technology is a mainstream patented technology worldwide, not to mention domestically. Coupled with the strong alliance between Huawei and Nokia, even if the United States increases its suppression and sanctions on Huawei, for Huawei, it can still break through the containment of the United States, and it can develop well without looking at the faces of the Americans. Of course, Huawei is a representative of Chinese companies. Huawei's ability to break through the encirclement of the United States indicates that domestic companies can do the same. As long as state-owned enterprises cannot forget self-improvement in the face of US sanctions and suppression, and can rely on the country's favorable policies to develop, they will eventually be able to break through their encirclement and obtain good development opportunities. The good news from China came that Huawei and Nokia have joined forces to break through the encirclement of the United States. On the basis of achieving rapid development, it gave the United States a severe blow. Some state-owned enterprises have shown timidity in response to US sanctions and suppression. The strong alliance between Huawei and Nokia can give incentives and motivation to these state-owned enterprises. Let all state-owned enterprises know that the development of state-owned enterprises cannot be hindered by other countries through sanctions or suppression. In many cases, state-owned enterprises can still usher in rapid development when other countries impose sanctions or suppression on state-owned enterprises strongly.